Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another DoDcast Postgame show. I'm your host, co-editor Ricky Keeler. Another win tonight for the Washington Nationals, an 8-3 win over the Cardinals. Their second win in the series. Their offense continues to be on a tear. Daniel Murphy, 4 hits, 5 RBIs, a home run, a couple of doubles. What more can Daniel Murphy do? But we'll get to him in a moment. But since this was an ESPN game tonight, and I was watching John Shambi and Rick Sutcliffe and Doug Glanville on the call, they did a great job. We like to bring on other fan-sided sites for these big kind of ball games, and I give this guest credit. He's here even though the Cardinals lost. He is one of the site experts at Redbird Rants. Please welcome Brendan Dlubala to the show. Brendan, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. Even though, after a tough loss, but yeah, I'm here.
Absolutely happy to have you. So, again, we want to get you guys involved, Nats fans, Cardinals fans alike. If you're here, we do want to hear from you as well. Feel free to send a question into our chat room. You can, here on YouTube, you can tweet us on Twitter at DistrictOnDeck or tweet me on Twitter at Rickinator555. So, Brendan, before we get into specifics on this game, give me your first take from this game. What's your ultimate takeaway from tonight's 8-3 ball game?
I mean, it's kind of been the same story for the Cardinals, at least. Poor defense. The pitching is lackluster. And you just give up too many easy runs.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate takeaway, because I think when you look at Lance Lynn, I was kind of tracking this during the ball game. First two times through the order, he only threw 4 first pitch strikes. And if you're going to be a successful pitcher, you got to throw strike one. He kind of got away with it, Brendan, first couple innings. And then once the Nats started taking pitches and started working the count as opposed to taking ball one and swinging away, it seemed like they finally got the better of Lynn toward the middle innings.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing with Lance Lynn is going to be throwing strikes. I mean, he's pretty much exclusively a fastball pitcher. I mean, the one thing to look at him and kind of take notice of is he is returning from Tommy John surgery. So there is going to be that rust there and a little bit of a growing pain. I personally expect him to bounce back and be fine. I mean, he pitched a great game against the Cubs. He's a consistent guy, but yeah, he needs that location. He needs that control. It's a fastball. It's always a fastball from him pretty much. You got to throw it for strikes.
And he's had a couple of tough tests. You brought it up on your Twitter account. Come back from Tommy John, your first 2 games are against 2 potent offenses like the Cubs and the Nationals. Not an easy thing to do.
No, not at all. I mean, I didn't have very high expectations for his Cubs game, and especially in spring training, his velocity was a little bit down. But then, he came out against the Cubs, pitched well. His velocity looked normal, like you didn't even know he had Tommy John. And then, I mean, his velocity was okay again tonight, but like you said, his control was a bit off. He did have a few great pitches right in the corners to get some strikeouts to get him back, but yeah, he's got some tough tests, and I mean, he's an upcoming free agent as well, so other teams are also watching him.
You look at this Cardinals offense, and you had the home run tonight by Randal Grichuk in the 4th inning, which was absolutely crushed. You had Diaz crush a home run off Blanton. But all in all, the offense for St. Louis, Matt Carpenter struggled and came in late tonight. He's had back tightness. Dexter Fowler has not been the guy that fans have been hoping for coming over from Chicago. They made the big news with the Molina and Piscotty extensions, Brendan, but right now this Cardinal offense just doesn't look in sync. What are you noticing about it?
Yeah, I kind of wrote a little bit about this today. I covered an analysis piece on Dexter Fowler. This offense was taken from 2016 and changed. 2016 was pretty much based on home runs. They were strictly a power team for the most part. They weren't consistent. And then this year, the whole idea was, hey, let's add Fowler to the top lineup. Let's move Carpenter down a couple spots, deepen this lineup, make it more methodical, make it more consistent. And that hasn't been the case at all. We haven't seen Fowler hit off the leadoff spot or get on base like he's supposed to. Like, he's supposed to be a heavy on-base percentage guy, and he's not doing that. Diaz has been hitting well as of late. He added another home run, and now he's tied for the lead in the National League, I think, tonight. Carpenter hasn't been doing well, but now this back issue is coming up. Their Cardinals are in search of a cleanup hitter that can consistently hit with runners in scoring position. They're already terrible at that. It's just not there. The consistency is not there.
And I thought Gio Gonzalez for the Nationals did a pretty good job. He struggled early, gave up the run in the first inning on the sacrifice fly to Molina after the leadoff double by Fowler, gave up the home run to Grichuk. But I think the story of the first 2 games for Gio is the confidence. He's found a way to get out of big spots repeatedly. He retires 11 straight to end his night, which is something you don't usually see. Gio did not have a 1-2-3 inning this season until the 5th inning tonight, and that's something that much different from Gio. Again, it's only 2 starts. Can't go crazy off of 2 starts, but he has looked impressive in these first couple of games for the Nationals. Brendan, I'm sure you're wondering what everybody else is wondering in the league now. How the heck do you get Bryce Harper out?
I actually called for him to be the MVP this year. I thought he would have a huge bounce back year. I thought last year, like, despite his numbers being down, like, he's still just so threatening. And then this year, he's already off to a very hot start. Getting him out, you gotta. I mean, I know the Cardinals walked him 3 times today before, they even pitched to him, but I think you have to be careful with him anytime he's up to the plate. And then it's tough to do against the Nationals because Daniel Murphy is arguably just as hot right now, especially after tonight. So as far as getting him out, I guess just pitch him away, down away, just keep the ball out of the threatening areas. But then if you make a mistake, he's a guy that's going to capitalize.
Harper's on-base streak was snapped at 9 straight at-bats after grounding out to Aledmys Diaz, but he hit the ball hard in that one, so that could have gone either way. Doubles off Sung 1-0, which leads to a run. And Brent, I'm wondering what you think about the situation in the 3rd inning. Lynn's got 2 on and 2 out, and he's kind of pitching around Harper with, yes, third base is open, but Murphy has much better numbers against him compared to Harper. Was that a surprising move that while Lynn didn't intentionally walk him, he didn't really give him anything around the plate in that sequence?
Yeah, I think it's almost one of those situations where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like everybody knows, Harper is an absolute monster at the plate, and he's got runners on. You don't want to give him something. It's tough when Lynn is pitching because he's a pitch-to-contact guy. He's a fastball guy. So, like, you don't want to give Harper fastballs that he can hit, obviously. And you also don't want to do the same for Murphy, but with 2 outs, it's just a situation with, I think Lynn kind of has to make that decision on his own. Who would you rather face? Who would you rather give the more hittable pitches to? And it looks like he chose Murphy in that situation.
So when you look at this Cardinals team, Brendan, going forward, I mean, right now their record on the season goes to 2-6. They've got a tough pitching matchup tomorrow with Mike Leake and Max Scherzer. You can break down it from Leake's perspective if you want. But is this as close to a must-win game this early in the season for the Cardinals with a trip to Yankee Stadium coming up this weekend for Matheny's club this early?
I don't know if I would call tomorrow a must-win. I think a lot of Cardinals fans, have hopes, but Scherzer is going to be tough. As far as the Yankees series goes, I think you got to win that series. You got to get 2 wins out of there. The Cardinals have already announced their starters, and like Carlos Martinez needs to get a win. We'll see if Wainwright can bounce back after a rough start. Waka will have his 2nd start of the season after looking pretty strong against the Reds. But as far as tomorrow, I wouldn't call it a must win. Personally, I'm hoping the Cardinals can just stay competitive in a game because that seems to be the goal at this point. And with Scherzer up on the mound, it's going to be a tough task.
We have also an update on Stephen Drew, which Dusty Baker said that Drew caught a spike and felt a pop on his hamstring. So that's not good news for the Nationals. They've already got Trey Turner down with a hamstring, and now you get Stephen Drew down with a hamstring. Anthony Rendon to come back into the game tonight, was originally get the night off. He played 3rd for the final 4 innings. So now the Nats are going to be likely, again, looking for a shortstop, and likely Wilmer Diffie will be there. We'll get into that in a little bit. Brendan, last question for you, and I want to go back to last night a little bit. And you look at the bullpen; it's been worn out, at least this series. Trevor Rosenthal throwing 99 last night. I think that's something that Cardinals fans had to be really happy with because that looked like the guy that we saw a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was also something I covered in a different piece today. Just his return. Yeah, he's had kind of a weird year already. He started spring training with this idea that maybe he could be a starter because everyone knows he wants to. But the Cardinals said that they were going to stretch him out for multiple innings, but then this lat issue keeps bothering him. So he was kind of shut down for a little bit. Then he got put on the disabled list with it. And then he returns last night in a blowout game and is actually pretty much the only bright spot of that game for the Cardinals. Hits 99, strikes out Rendon on a great slider. I mean, he looked great. I half expected him to see him tonight again, but I'm sure they're being very careful with him going forward with how this bullpen has been.
So before we let you go, Brendan, tell listeners out there about Redbird Rants, what you guys are doing over there, and how they can follow you and the site on Twitter.
Yeah, it's Redbird Rants is obviously the Cardinals website of Fansided. We are heavy into hot takes. We have some very passionate writers. So there will be some rants tomorrow, I'm sure, about the Cardinals. You can follow me at B_Doobie. And then you can follow the Redbird Rants account through the Fansided network. And they're all the same. It's FS Redbird Rants. We're a very passionate group. We're heavy into analytics, but we also have very opinionated pieces. I'm sure we'll have some after tonight's loss.
So go to Redbird Rants.
Thanks for having me on.
Any Cardinal information, and thanks again, Brendan. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So that's Brendan Dlubala from Redbird Rants. So as we get into more of these games on ESPN and national TV, we're going to try to bring on as many fan-side sites as we can to join our project here. So again, as we talked about right before we ended with Brendan, Stephen Drew, the report on him is a right hamstring injury. Again, he caught a spike lead in the batter's box, felt a pop there. So the Nats are going to likely be down 2 shortstops. I don't know if it's likely Stephen Drew is going to be on the disabled list. There's no reason to think otherwise. So now you're looking at Wilmer Diffo being the everyday shortstop. And now who do you add on that list? Brandon Snyder's hitting the ball well at Syracuse, but he's not a shortstop. He's never played shortstop. So you're looking at maybe a Grant Green, who at least is playing there at Syracuse, didn't have a great camp, but maybe he's an option you go with. But the Nats are depleted at shortstop. I mean, the hamstrings have been a huge issue for them with Turner, which isn't as big an injury, but Drew's now sounds worse, and he was huge for this team. Who gave Anthony Rendon a couple of days off if needed. Now Rendon might have to play close to every day, and he's struggling right now. So there is a little bit of concern for the Nationals, at least from an injury perspective. But on the other side, let's look at a couple of notes from tonight. Jason Worth and Matt Wieters, of course, with home runs in the 4th inning to give the Nationals a 4-2 lead when the game was tied at 2. Of course, a lot of people had flashbacks to the Worth home run in 2012 off Lance Lynn that won Game 4 of the division series. Not as resounding of a home run, but you'll take it. Worth has 3 this season. And Matt Wieters picks up his first home run in a Curly W uniform. He's been excellent. His on-base percentage is out of this world right now. He also had a double in this game. So Matt Wieters, I think, has been everything as advertised. Defensively, maybe not as much, but when you have a guy that has been able to get on base consistently at a high level, right now, at least at this stage in the season, you take it. Because this offense, you think about it, with Trey Turner struggling, and injured, with Anthony Rendon struggling, the way that this offense continues to put runs up together, they've scored 22 runs in this series. It's remarkable what this team has put up on the board offensively. So your line score for this one, Cardinals 3 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. The Nats 8 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. That was on Ryan Zimmerman, who dropped a pop-up, dropped it on the transfer by Dexter. Lemus Diaz in the first, allowed Dexter Fowl to go to third, and that led to a Yadier Molina sac fly that drove in the first run. Gio Gonzalez, 7 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. Did a good job at the fastball in the inside corner, even though Grichuk got to a changeup in that spot. He was able to throw his fastball away, even at 93, 94 at times, mix in the breaking ball. I thought this was an excellent outing from Gio. Joe Blanton gives a home run to Diaz in the 8th, but gets the next 3 hitters. And while Trinan walked Matt Carpenter to lead off the 9th, he got a double play on the next batter, and that really eliminated any threat there. But Trinan's got to work on not walking the leadoff batter with a 5-run lead. You can't do that in that situation, or it's going to cost you down the road. So the Nationals get the win. They go to 5-3. Said the Cardinals are 2-6, and I think they are off to a miserable start right now. And they have as tough a schedule as anybody does in the month of April. So that'll be something to keep an eye on going forward for them. Of course, we'll get to tomorrow's game in a bit. Let's look around the league, or look at least around the division to start off with. The New York Mets taking on the Phillies. They are absolutely demoralizing the Phillies tonight, 13-4. Yoenis Cespedes with 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. Asdrubal Cabrera's had an excellent game. Jay Bruce, a couple RBIs in this one. Matt Harvey did leave that game with a knee injury, so it is something to keep an eye on. But Mets in cruise control there over the Phillies, so they will stay tied with the Nats in all likelihood. And the Marlins with an 8-4 lead in the 9th right now against the Braves. They opened up their home opener tonight, and Marcell Ozuna, he hit a 3-run homer in the 3rd and a 2-run homer in the 5th. He's driven in 6 runs tonight, so he's been the offense for the Marlins in an 8-4 win. Of course, let's get to tomorrow's game before we do our minor league update. It'll be a 4 o'clock Eastern first pitch, so set your schedules accordingly. Max Scherzer gets the ball for the Nats, 1-0 with a 2.70 ERA against Mike Leake for the Cardinals. Leake 0-1 with a 1.13 earned run average, gave 1 run in 8 innings in his last start. He did not get the win, though, so hard luck loser there. And Scherzer, I thought, looked good against the Phillies. Pitching in the 7th inning, you saw all his pitches working, gave a couple of runs, but all in all, everything looked right for Scherzer, so we'll see what happens with that. Tomorrow's the Nats go for the sweep. They failed to get the sweep last week against the Marlins, but after that rough series in Philadelphia, they could use a sweep before a revenge matchup with the Phillies. So let's go around the minor leagues. We'd love to do that around here. Minor leagues not as great as last night, 1-3 today. Syracuse lost to Pawtucket 5-4. Pawtucket scored 3 in the 5th inning in that game. Another 2 RBIs for Brandon Snyder, who has 6 this season. A.J. Cole got the start. He walked 5, struck out 6. He gave up 4 runs over 4 innings, just 78 pitches. So not a good outing for A.J. Cole at all in that one. In Double-A, the Senators lost to the Hartford Yard Goats 4-0. John Sims took the loss, but only gave 2 runs over 6 innings and struck out 3. Andrew Stevenson had 2 of those hits for Harrisburg. He's up to .364 batting average on the year. Potomac got shelled by the Frederick Keys 16-6. 4 errors made by the Peanuts in this game. But RBIs by Talmito Augustine, Rhett Wiseman, Jake Lowry, and Kelvin Gutierrez in this one. Their starter, Workin Estevez, gave 7 runs in 4 2/3 innings. And a wild one down in Hagerstown, Maryland, but the Suns get the win, 4-3 in 15 innings. Game just ended like 15 minutes before we got on the air here. A walk-off RBI by Sheldon Noyce, who's got 8 ribbies on the season. The Nats drafted him in the 3rd round last year at 3rd base. Carter Keyboom, 3 for 7 on the night, hitting now .458. He is off to an incredible start. The bullpen doing an excellent job for the Suns. They struck out 12 over the final 10 innings of this one. So they're 4-2, and they're playing some good baseball right now in the South Atlantic League. So again, final score tonight, Nationals get the win. Final score 8-3. Good performance by Gio Gonzalez. The Nats hit 3 home runs in this game, 1 by Worth, 1 by Wieters, and 1 by Daniel Murphy, who again, it's hard to explain what this guy's doing. It really is. He leads the league in hits. This is the guy that got hardly any at-bats in the World Baseball Classic. And he's out there doing an incredible job just putting the ball in play, getting his extra base hits. Got 5 doubles on the season, 6 multi-hit games. I mean, Bryce Harper, you don't want to pitch to him, but now you got Murphy behind him. And Ryan Zimmerman's even getting some great swings to start the year. So this offense is locked in right now, at least in the middle of the order. Wieters at the bottom has done a nice job. If they can get anything from Rendon here, we'll see what they make a move at shortstop. We'll have more on that, of course, tomorrow on District on Deck and on the post-game show after the game, which I will be hosting again. And it should be a lot of fun. So, again, Max Scherzer against Mike Leake. Scherzer's the guy you want on the mound with a sweep on the line. Cardinals offense has not been hitting well in this series. They've really benefited a lot from bad defense by the Nats, and even then they could have got some opportunities, but the Cardinals went 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Nats were 3 for 11, but they got the hits when they needed them the most. Again, Murphy with the 4 hits, Wieters, a multi-hit game, Adam Eaton with another hit, Wilmer Diffo. He hit second tonight, little surprising, but I guess because he's a switch hitter, you get the sense that Dusty kind of liked the fact that Diffo can hit from both the left and right side, but I would still hit Jason Wirtz second. I think that's the right way to go. So we'll see how they have to line up tomorrow. I have more on Anthony Rendon moving down the batting order on districtondeck.com, why that should happen. Drew Douglas writes about why the bullpen is off to a poor start. And again, it seems like the bullpen game without giving up a run. Now, it was well to reach at that point 7-2, but you prefer Joe Blanton not give up a home run there. I mean, can we have a game where the bullpen does not give up a run? That seems to be the problem. But again, we want to thank all you guys for tuning in tonight. We want to thank Brendan Dlubala from Redbird Rants for checking in. We love having other teams' viewpoints on the show. I think it's really important. Ron, of course, will be back with you guys on Friday when the Nats take on the Phillies. Afternoon game Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so 3 afternoon games. I'll be back with you tomorrow night, and I'll be live tweeting with you at District on Deck and at Rickinator555 throughout the game. So for all of us District on Deck, I'm Ricky Keeler saying have a great night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening for Nats-Cardinals and another episode of the DoDcast Postgame Show.